You know what's damn near impossible? Coming up with just about anything to say about a game that's combined content represents less than an hour and a half. Yeah, that's just where we happen to find ourselves today. The experience is so light, bare bones, and in and out that the game doesn't even have a title screen until you've completed the main story. Cap its length, simplicity, and complete lack of history from the devs that I could find, and you know why we just kind of ran directly into the topic without my trademark brain-dead preamble. Even though this technically counts as that. And I hate it. It makes me feel like I'm rushing through the episode. Why you gotta put me in this position, Unfold Games? What did I ever do to you?
Submitted for your approval, or at least your analysis.
Darq! With a Q! You take the part of Christopher Lloyd as he makes his way through some kind of nightmare hellscape when all he really wants to do is sleep. Fuck's wrong with y'all? Can't let a brother get his sleep on? Shit. When Yunkle Fester goes to sleep in his severely dilapidated Adam's estate, he's hurled into the twisted nightmare world of stuff and things. There's no real coherency to the world design, and the setting changes with each chapter, with no chapters really having any significance that I could uncover in their design. It's just some place, and then a subway station, and then a suburb, then theaters, trains, caves, etc. Each acts as a very long room filled with puzzles that you must solve to make it back to your ramshackle abode. Generally speaking, one overarching puzzle will be served by a series of smaller puzzles, and some stealth to mix up the gameplay. I of course put stealth in goofy little quotes, because it's not really stealth. It's hide here and just don't be in front of guy, or inch incredibly slowly for a lengthy period of time so grandma doesn't wake up. Or my favorite, just don't stand too close to him. It's token. Not really all that engaging and really just serves to create segments that slow the player down for seemingly no other reason than to pad out the runtime. The puzzles, however, while not super mind-blowing, are cleverly implemented, pretty clever in themselves, and never hit that moon logic issue puzzle adventure games died doo-doo over a decade ago. Difficulty is never so bad that I got absolutely stuck, but they are never so easy as to be a cakewalk. Unless, of course, you're smarter than me. They take basic logic and puzzle-solving skills and then ask you to think a little outside the box, and sometimes even challenges you. The challenges it throws in aren't rage-inducing either. The puzzles that ask you to act quickly don't require super high reflex speed, more just the ability to execute basic commands quickly. In fact, the hardest the game ever gets is a nice little maze puzzle that would be considered too easy even for a Denny's placemat. Where they challenge the player, however, is forcing Gomez's wayward brother to solve the maze while the camera constantly pans away to show your friend's unreasonably horny grandma wheeling down the hall to comment on how flattering your slacks are for your body type. I really liked that puzzle. I also liked the entire city street level save for the faux stealth section that they just had to have for some god-awful reason. The game first introduces its main gimmick of rotating the world to walk on walls, but quickly makes that a matter of course for traversal and puzzle solving, while asking the player to regularly rethink how to tackle the obstacles put in front of them, save for, enemies. The gameplay itself never gets too complicated, but it also never really gets all that engaging either, which just mutes the overall experience and makes the finale stand out like a sore thumb. The finale, speaking of, which is just you running from grandma and avoiding obstacles, runs on for far too long and ends in what I can only guess is Fester's quest ending in being born? Look, if there's a metaphor there, they crammed it in at the last minute and you can't convince me otherwise. The art style is nothing to write home about. You spend the entire time looking at a Geiger-esque gray on black, with none of the artistic flair or panache to really drive the palette home. It's not offensive or ugly by any means, but neither is it memorable or striking. It's fine is the best or really even the worst I can say about it. Enemy designs range from gunmen in unitards with lamps for heads, a wheelchair-bound Philo with a tuba for a dome piece, the inmates from the Shale Bridge Cradle, a plague doctor, and of course, grandma. None of them have great designs either, and they overall come off as pretty bland. Generic grunting is really the best they can do to unnerve you. Installing the game from GOG also allowed me to download the music, but if there's a soundtrack here, I never heard it save for the credits, so there's that. The devs put out a free DLC, a DLC that took me an hour to complete because your boy is fucking retarded and missed a pickup at the very start and spent an eternity looking for it. It's got some cool visuals and a few decent puzzles, but really it's about 25 minutes long if you're not retarded like I am, and they even challenge you to complete it in 6. It's fine. It's got some better visuals than the base game, I think. It's hard overall to talk about this as a value prospect. I got it on sale for $12, but the base price is $20 goddamn dollars. $20 for what GOG tells me I spent just under 2 hours playing with no replay value and nothing that really sticks out. And before we go any further, we have to address the 10-cent shaped elephant in the room. They were approached by Epic for store exclusivity, citing it being better in the long run to serve the consumer and build a fan base. They turned that down. Now, normally, that would mean nothing. That's just industry bullshit. This is a game. But as a guy who pays attention to stupid industry bullshit and takes it into account when discussing a game, it's something I have to commend and give points towards. But it's not something that can override the incredibly short runtime and high price tag. Sure, it would be nice to just take the game in a vacuum, but if we look at the game alone, ignore literally everything surrounding it, good or bad, it's a bad value proposition, and I would let it fade into obscurity. For that price tag, and even less, I can't count how many indie games I have played for this channel that offered infinitely more. In that vacuum, it's not worth it, and never will be. But taking into account the hard work that went in and what they sacrificed for the consumer, $12 is okay. It's not great, it's not bad, but it's certainly not leaving me feeling like I got a deal. I'd like to come down to 10, but I'd be willing to pay as much as 15 just with what's on offer and to support a developer I feel made a good consumer-driven decision. But $20 fucking is way too goddamn much to ask for the game. Even 15 is pushing it, and they should seriously consider making the base price. Maybe also release a demo. So yeah, Darq with a Q leaves a weird taste in my mouth, and I can't find myself recommending playing it, or even recommending avoiding it. It just kind of is, at the end of the day, and that's really a first for me, I think. But if you're just really into the Billy Corgan look, then have I got great news for you. You only play with one hand. I'm the Necroswanson, and you can go fuck yourselves.
Send the